Hello, I'm FXSlicker and welcome back to the Minecraft update news video. Today I have some very good news for Minecraft PlayStation 4 Edition players because we finally have the news regarding the Village and Pillage update. We now know within a couple of days when the update will be coming out, but we also have some great news for Minecraft Bedrock or Java players because Mojang has finally decided to respond to the criticism that okay, you're the biggest game of all time, but you say there aren't enough staff, and they are employing a lot of new staff, a lot of very influential staff to help with game design, which is something that I think is a great thing. And there's some really bizarre controversy to do with that I want to dive into in just a little bit, but for now let's talk about what exactly the news is regarding the biggest one, which is PlayStation 4 Edition. So very good news to any PlayStation 4 players out there because Minecraft Java and Minecraft Bedrock got Village and Pillage on the same day, and then the matter of the waiting game started for PlayStation 4. Usually this has been about 2 weeks in past, sometimes as much as 3 months, so we didn't know exactly how long this would take, although we did get to see a lucky screenshot of the update for Minecraft Console Edition's 7th birthday, which was earlier this month. If you don't know, Minecraft Console turned 7, they showed off a screenshot of Village and Pillage, but we didn't know when it would actually be coming to all of us. But now we have that great news because 4J tweeted out today saying we've handed over the PS4 Village and Pillage update to Sony for the final test. We'll let you know when it passes, and this is some really good news because it means the Village and Pillage update is 100% complete. That update is now ready to be released to people, and it's just waiting on Sony to finally release it. If you don't know, consoles in general, they have processes where they check the game won't crash a console, won't break something, won't crash on a regular basis. Basically, they make sure the game is fit for their console, and although it's something that a lot of console manufacturers are falling out of favor of, and that's why a lot of games kind of fail these days, it's something that makes sure that the PlayStation 4 Village and Pillage update won't just be, 4J level good, it'll be good enough to guarantee that it'll run your console just fine, just perfectly, which means that that final testing is happening right now, and it should be done really soon. In case you're curious as to how soon, the general time that we say is like roughly 10 business days at max, but that would mean that the update is coming out either next Tuesday, if it finishes really fast. I would say this isn't likely, but it's definitely possible, or it would come out the Tuesday after, which is very possible, or the Tuesday after that if something goes really wrong or there's like a big delay because of holidays with the testing team. But if we assume something doesn't go horribly wrong, then it's probably coming out on the 11th of June with a possibility of it coming out on the 4th of June, and although they could choose release on a different date, generally speaking 4J releases updates on Tuesdays. Those are the two most likely Tuesdays that we'll see Minecraft PlayStation 4 Village and Pillage. I'm excited to play this update. I actually won't be around next Tuesday, so if it comes out early, it's good news for all of you, but it's kind of bad news for me because I can't play it for a whole week. But again, the Tuesday I expect it to come out will be June the 11th. If you want to know exactly when it's going to be releasing, we usually have a good idea around 24 hours before the update comes out. So next Monday, the Monday after, or worst case, the Monday after that, is when we'll know for sure exactly when the update's releasing, but it's now a matter of days, not a matter of months or weeks, and that is very good news because again, generally speaking, the PlayStation 4 Edition version of updates is the one which has the best compromises and has the best, least buggy form of updates. Because again, we've seen on both Bedrock and Java a lot of bugs with their updates, whereas console, because again, console's a very different environment, and 4J are a very different developer, tends to be, in exchange for the lateness, a lot more bug-free, which is something we can all be down with, right? So yeah, Minecraft PlayStation 4 Village and Pillage coming out super soon. I'll be covering it, assuming it doesn't release next Tuesday, but even if it does, I'll let you know the moment we know when this update's coming out via the YouTube community function, as well as via Twitter at IBXToyCat. All of this news comes from Twitter. Most news does come from Twitter these days, which is why I wanted to talk about the second bit of news, because it's a bit of controversy that came from something that really shouldn't be controversial, right? It's a bit of a message on how to use Twitter, mixed in with some Minecraft news, because Minecraft posted some brand new job listings at Mojang in Sweden. There's also some brand new ones at Microsoft in Redmond, but we'll focus on the ones from Mojang in Sweden, because yeah, there's a bunch of brand new developer roles for that version of the game. There's the gameplay developer, there's a Minecraft gameplay executive producer, there's a launcher tech lead, there's a talent acquisition business partner, there's a Minecraft senior game developer, a Minecraft gameplay bedrock producer, and an experienced design lead. And you'll notice how besides the talent acquisition business partner and the launcher tech lead, all of these things are to do with gameplay itself. Minecraft wants to ramp up the amount of time they spend on making updates, making the game itself, because obviously Minecraft is a huge game, but the team never seems like it expands at the pace that they want it to. Even though there is a lot of staff working on Minecraft, the amount working on updates and the game itself, which is a really important thing in the age of, like live games that are always meant to be updating, when people expect an update every, like 6 months and they get one every year, there's a big confusion there. There's something, people seem to love Minecraft regardless, but if they can update it more, it's generally going to be more profitable for a game that has 176 million copies in the wild and 70, over 90 million monthly players. It makes sense that they want to update that game, and that's really good news for all of us. Even if you take nothing else from the story, the good news is that Minecraft is getting more gameplay developers across all the different games, it sounds like, some for Java, a lot for Bedrock, and some presumably for Earth and for Minecraft Dungeons. And I will say, every time a Mojang position comes up, even though it might be a dream job, I will clarify these are very heavy end positions, which again, it's bad news if you want to apply, but it's good news if you want to know that someone competent is going to be in the role, because they actually clarify that some of these people will be working on making new features for Minecraft from start to finish. They kind of own it, and therefore, hopefully we get some talkative developers on Twitter. Again, it's really cool to see features as they're in progress and whatnot. That's how, we know a lot of developers. That's how Dinnerbone was kind of famous back in the day, and it's cool to see that they are going to let new developers work on their own things and have a new flavor being added to Minecraft. I think that's cool personally. But yeah, let's talk about the fact that the requirements of this role are that you need to know Java, you need to be a Java developer, and C++ is generally recommended. Then we've got, a love of Minecraft. Okay, that's something you'd expect for working on Minecraft. A strong desire to incorporate feedback from the community, which, I mean, that's a cool one to have. An experienced modder or have worked with game design, and the ability to understand and improve a 10-year-old code base. So it's a pretty hefty set of requirements, basically, is what I'm trying to get at here. And that's where this next bit of controversy comes in, because you might know Jasper or Japper. He's the guy who worked on the brand new textures for Minecraft, quite a controversial thing by itself, but he also says quite a few controversial things on Twitter, and I wanted to use this as an example of how if you have a message you want to share, how you should be careful of how you put it, because Twitter only has 280 characters, and a lot of people make mistakes with it. Maybe some people make deliberate mistakes, but let's assume the best from people, and let's show you how you can have a message and you can put it out into the world in a way that is interpreted in a way that basically offends everyone in some way, it seems. But yeah, let's dive into exactly what that is, because Jasper tweeted out something, fairly reasonable, saying, "This is a unique opportunity that will change your life. I'll like you more if you're not Swedish. We need more internationals. Yay, diversity." And it's an interesting thing by itself there, like, oh, so not Swedish preferably, but it's a fun little joke. Like, it's fine, but you get the point. Like, already there, it's like, so that's something that could be misinterpreted, but because a lot of people like to yell at each other for things. But then the second tweet is something that really got a lot of debate riled up, I would say, because he tweets then saying, "I personally would love for you to apply if you are a person of color, a woman, very experienced in game design, cool, all of the above." And this is where, everything kind of goes crazy, because here's the interesting thing about this tweet. Even though the view behind it might be a fairly, innocent or even good one, right? Like, not even just, like, not bad. The way it's, stands out, the way a lot of people read that is like, oh, so your preference is someone who's not Swedish, who is a person of color, which is the word for people who are black, Asian, etc., if you don't know. Someone who is a woman, etc., etc., etc. But surely the goal should be for the most qualified person to work on Minecraft to be the person who works on Minecraft. And I don't think that most people hold the sincere opinion that, what the best thing to do is to hire people who are unqualified as long as they fit some other arbitrary standard, because that's not how most businesses work, etc. And again, the thing is, if you actually read through his other tweets, it sounds like he agrees with that, and you should always trust that what people say is what they believe unless they're arguing bad faith, because he then says that cultural and gender diversity is very important because Minecraft is being played by so many different people. It would only make sense for the team to be just as diverse. Different perspectives add a lot of ideas, problem solving, and proper representation. And then the final tweet in this little thread here is that encouraging minorities within the games industry to apply doesn't mean that we're going to hire someone that's not qualified. I don't know why I have to point that out, but apparently I do. So again, taking all of this at face value, it's a pretty reasonable opinion that's just expressed in a super inflammatory way. And I wanted to use this as a thing of like, someone's going to be angry in the comments, be like, oh yeah, this is what I interpret him to mean. But the truth is, if you take all of this and you take it all at the face value, the thing he's saying, he's just saying, yeah, it'd be cool, ideally, if someone's scared of applying because they are, like a minority of person of color, like they're not the same gender as me, then, hopefully this encourages them to apply, but it doesn't sound like that to most people. Most people get this and they hear something else entirely, and that's because it's worded in that same, again, super inflammatory way of just, instead of saying, oh yeah, anyone who feels like they should apply, don't be scared, this is a thing, it's targeting specific groups and therefore untargeting specific other groups. It's, it sounds to a lot of people like they're the exact opposite of what you're trying to do, but the opposite of one type of discrimination is still another type of discrimination. Anyway, so you get the point that like, this is a really interesting thing to dive into, it's a thing to wrap your head around. And again, I think 98% of people have that exact same view of like, oh yeah, everyone should apply for a thing, it's good if more people do apply, but also the most qualified person should get the job. The worst form of, discrimination would be against qualified people in favor of some other characteristic. And it's funny because most people agree with that, but if you look into to the actual response to this one, I'll show you a couple ones right here. One guy's like, so do you guys prioritize diversity hiring over qualifications? Diversity is a great thing, but are you guys going to give someone a better chance just because they're a POC/woman, etc.? And that's where I said where like it's worded in such an inflammatory way that a lot of people are going to have that impression. A lot of people are going to have that explicit thing of like, oh, so I'm not one of those things, should I not apply, etc., etc. And you can see how like people then make up their own backlash in response to that backlash, where it's like, no, you don't. These people know what you mean. They're just mad that you're daring to say white men aren't the only people in the games industry. Keep up the great work. And I wanted to raise this as just a point that like two people got entirely different messages there, and they're arguing against like fictional versions of points that they want to believe they're arguing against. Because again, on Twitter, you only have so many characters to express yourself, so we're all arguing with fictional representations of each other, and that sounds like a crazy thing to say. This sounds like I'm going deep with Toycat, but the point I want to raise right here is on this particular issue, 98% of people agree like most qualified person gets the most qualified job. Ideally, you know, most qualified person can be diverse, so you get a different team, because being from a different background or being from a different slightly perspective, that's how you get more views in a thing. Having a clone of yourself isn't as useful as having someone who is you but like went to a different school in a different part of the country or even a different country altogether. You can see how like, oh yeah, you have a different perspective based on the different experiences that you had. But yeah, basically the thing I wanted to raise is 98% of people agree that like, yeah, you know, if the most qualified person should get the thing, and if that person is diverse, that's better. But then there's like the 1% of people who probably do believe that like, oh yeah, white men are superior, white men should have all the jobs. Like, I guess literal Nazis, right? You know, there are some literal Nazis, but they're very rare. And then there's 1% of people who are like, you know what, to make up for the white man's atonement, they should be reverse qualified. Their qualifications be dragged down a grade. You have a, you know, a PhD, that counts as a high school diploma. Is that a thing? I don't know my international things. But like, you know, you have a master's in something, that doesn't get counted over here because of the color of your skin and the chromosomes and your gender. Like, those are both ridiculous opinions that only a tiny minority of people actually do hold, but it's something that people argue against because they believe the other side is like that. Never believe the other side is the worst version of their argument. Try and believe people are the best of it, and because you know, because you can only control yourself, because you can help improve how you interact with Twitter and the world, and hopefully this YouTube video, although I bet the comment section is filled with bad stuff, my point here is like, when you're on the internet, you only have so many words to express yourself. Try not to be ambiguous in a way that leads to you being misinterpreted, because if we're being honest, right, that original tweet, that was worded in an inflammatory way, and that started this whole thing. And yeah, try and avoid doing that if you can, because if you allow your opinions to be parodied and become a ridiculous version of themselves, then you'll become that. And I'm sure for the 1% of people that are actually Nazis, or the 1% of people who are racist against white people, you know, like for those groups of people, it's great when people get misinterpreted as being on their side, but most people are not in those extreme positions, and you know, being forced that way because of Twitter and because of your thing is something you should generally avoid. And maybe this is just a lesson on how to use social media. Like, hey, if you say something publicly, especially if it sounds like you said something, you know, else that's quite, you know, offensive and quite a problem, you know, publicly, then maybe you should be careful on that. And again, it's perfectly fine to say things in private, but when you're saying statements like this in public, it sends the wrong message, and maybe that's the message that was wanted to be sent here. But it's something I just wanted to throw out there as like a, hey, there is a really big controversy, but it happened over a thing that is at its core a good thing. Minecraft is hiring people, and they're gonna hire some hopefully pretty good people, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Minecraft changes as a result of these new hires, which should happen over the next 3 to 6 months, etc. But we'll see if that, you know, helps the pace of Minecraft updates, or even just the content inside them. It's something I'll be keeping you up to date with, because as you all do know, I cover the latest and greatest in Minecraft news, and apparently some Minecraft controversies on this channel. It's something interesting that maybe you enjoyed. I hope you all did. You can like this video if you did like the Minecraft news. You can share it if you really liked it. You can subscribe if you're new around here. Make sure you turn on those notifications so you'll know about the PlayStation 4 update. You'll know immediately when we learn about 1.15 and all of the other little bits of news in between, because again, Minecraft is a game that is going places, and exactly how it's going places is something that by the way, I recommend not checking the comment section of this video. I'm always super terrified. Like, the moment you say something that some people can interpret as political, like one of my statements somewhere in here, I probably said something that someone's going to interpret in the worst way possible, and they're going to attack that. But that's the point on the internet. Like, everyone has opinions. Try not to be super inflammatory unless you really need to defend yourself, because not every single tweet needs to offend people. In fact, you know, offending people, probably not, you know, the best thing in the world, right? Like, being offended is not a good thing. Offending people, generally not a good thing. And maybe this is a good lesson. Maybe it isn't, you know? I don't know for sure. Thank you very much for watching either way, though, because I'll see you all next time. Oh, I might be live streaming later today, so if you watched all of this, you might want to watch that. I don't know for sure, though, actually. You know, this is a terrible way to announce a live stream. Assume I'm live streaming, and if I'm not live streaming, then I died because of that awful food yesterday. So, yeah, see you later for that live stream that's definitely probably happening.